America, bright cities, expensive suburbs, and neighborhoods where your neighbor's dog has more followers than you. But stop. What if I told you some places in America have no people at all? No traffic, no lines, no voices, just silence. The kind of silence where your own heartbeat suddenly feels too loud. Today, we're entering 10 abandoned towns in the United States. Places so empty that your GPS gives up, the ground is still on fire. And some towns are so unwanted, 2 states refuse to claim them. A warning, this video isn't relaxing. Pick the wrong place, and you don't just lose money, you lose your mind. One town has been burning underground for over 60 years. Another has only one person left running the entire city. And one place feels like it's not abandoned at all, just waiting. So don't blink. Hit like. It's cheaper than therapy. Subscribe. Because the emptier these places get, the darker the stories become. Let's go. Number 10, Centralia, Pennsylvania. At first glance, Centralia, Pennsylvania sounds like the kind of place you'd expect to see in a cozy Hallmark movie. A quiet town tucked into the woods. Friendly neighbors. Maybe a pumpkin festival that somehow takes itself way too seriously. But here's the truth. Centralia has been burning since 1962. And no, that's not a metaphor. An underground coal mine caught fire beneath the town. And more than 60 years later, that fire is still alive, slowly eating the land from below. The ground is literally burning under your feet even today. Let's talk about what Centralia looks like now. Population, just 5 people. That's not a rumor, that's the official count. Crime rate, 0. Because who exactly are you going to rob in a ghost town? Rent practically free. If you don't mind the earth trying to collapse beneath your house. Air quality, absolutely deadly. Coal smoke included at no extra charge. Walking through Centralia feels wrong. The roads are cracked and warped like they're melting. Smoke rises straight out of the ground. Warning signs are everywhere, but the silence makes them feel pointless. Imagine this. You step outside in the morning with a cup of coffee. The sidewalk hisses beneath your feet. Steam rises around you. That fog you're breathing in? It's not weather, it's toxic gas leaking from the fire below. This isn't a town anymore. It's a post-apocalyptic warning that never got the memo to stop existing. The government bought out almost every home and officially condemned the area. But the fire didn't care. It keeps burning, spreading slowly. Collapsing streets, opening sinkholes, and turning an entire community into a danger zone. Centralia isn't abandoned because people left. People left because staying meant risking your life every single day. And here's the unsettling part. That fire could continue burning for hundreds of years. So now tell me this. If someone offered you a free house in Centralia, no rent, no neighbors, total silence, would you take it? Knowing the ground beneath you could collapse at any moment? Number 9. Bodie, California. The Wild West ghost town frozen in time. Welcome to Bodie, California. Officially one of the wildest ghost towns in the United States, and arguably the Wild West's most overachieving abandoned town. Back in the late 1800s, Bodie wasn't just a mining town. It was a full-blown gold rush spectacle. At its peak, population over 10,000 people. Saloons 60, each one louder and rowdier than the last. Street life. Every alley full of chaos, gunfights, bar brawls, and saloon girls competing for attention. It was a place where fortunes were made overnight. Lives were lost just as quickly, and law enforcement was optional. Then the gold ran out, slowly at first, then all at once. Businesses closed. Families left. The streets emptied. Today, Bodie feels like time itself pressed pause. Population, 0. Nobody lives here. Electricity, none. Not a single wire sparks life. Internet, forget it. Bodie treats Wi-Fi like witchcraft. The town is preserved in a state called arrested decay, meaning nothing has been restored, but nothing has been destroyed either. Walk through Bodie and you'll see old wooden buildings leaning at precarious angles, rusted wagons frozen mid-motion, furniture left exactly where it was abandoned, signs warning you about safety. But you realize even nature is cautious around this place. The silence is overwhelming. It's so quiet that every creak, every gust of wind, every rattling board sounds like it's alive. The wind moves through broken windows as if whispering the secrets of thousands who once lived here. Step on a floorboard and it groans, almost like the town itself is reminding you that you don't belong here. Legally, you can't live in Bodie anymore. It's a state historic park, maintained as a window into the past. But imagine this anyway. One night, completely alone. No electricity, no cell service, no lights. The mountains surrounding you are dark silhouettes against the moon. Every building you pass is a time capsule of greed, ambition, and chaos. You can almost feel the echoes of the saloons, the laughter, the screams, the gunshots. It's eerie. It's beautiful. And it's hauntingly silent. Bodie isn't scary because something happens here. It's terrifying because nothing happens, but the past is so strong it feels alive. So here's the question you have to ask yourself. If you were allowed to spend one night alone in Bodie, no phone, no lights, no one around, completely immersed in a town frozen in time, would you dare to stay? Or would you run before sunset? Number 8, Rhyolite, Nevada. Real-life Fallout game. Step into the middle of the Mojave Desert, and you might feel like you've been dropped into a real-life Fallout game. The sun scorches the cracked earth. The wind whispers through ruins, and every step you take echoes through streets where no one has walked in decades. Welcome to Rhyolite, Nevada, a town that was once bursting with life, ambition, and the energy of the early 1900s gold rush, but now exists only as a ghostly echo of what once was. Back then, Rhyolite was alive. A stock exchange where fortunes were made and lost in a heartbeat. A 3-story school, full of children laughing, learning, and dreaming of a future that never stayed. Banks, shops, saloons, and homes that gave it a modern, bustling city vibe. People moved here with dreams of wealth and prosperity. But the desert had other plans. The gold ran out, the economy collapsed. Families packed up and left, buildings crumbled, nature slowly reclaimed its space, and yet somehow, Rhyolite refuses to completely disappear. Today it's completely abandoned. Population 0, not a single permanent resident. Rent free, but only if you can handle the mental weight of isolation, the endless sun and the knowledge that the world moved on without you. Job market non-existent, only desert lizards, crows, and the occasional lost tourist can call this place home. Walking through, Rhyolite is like walking through an art installation curated by the desert itself. Every building tells a story. Wooden beams warped by heat. Brick walls slowly collapsing under the weight of time. Faded signs warning of businesses that haven't existed in over 100 years. And then there are the ghost sculptures. Strange, surreal statues scattered around the desert streets, frozen in poses that seem almost human. Tourists once called 911, convinced these sculptures were real people. And in Rhyolite, it's easy to see why. The town blurs the line between reality and imagination. Your brain wants to rationalize what it sees. But the desert doesn't care about logic. Everywhere you look, there's beauty and decay intertwined. The remains of a bank where gold was once counted now sit buried in sand. Windows of empty houses reflect the blinding sun. Like eyes staring at you, this isn't just an abandoned town. It's a post-apocalyptic playground. Surreal. Unsettling and mesmerizing all at once. Walking its streets, you can't help but feel the weight of time pressing down on you. Every shadow seems alive. Every crumbling wall seems to whisper. Even the desert itself seems to be watching. So here's the question you have to answer. If you could explore Rhyolite alone for one night, walking its deserted streets, surrounded by ghost sculptures, abandoned banks, crumbling houses, and endless desert, would you dare to stay until sunrise, or would you leave before darkness falls? Number 7, Cairo, Illinois, the ghost of missed potential. Cairo, Illinois. A city with unlimited potential, perfectly positioned at the meeting point of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, 2 of America's mightiest waterways. If it had been executed right, Cairo could have been the crown jewel of the Midwest, a thriving hub of trade, culture, and prosperity. Instead, it became a cautionary tale. Today, Cairo is a city of stark contrasts. Population, about 1,700, down from 15,000 at its peak. A dramatic collapse that tells a story of dreams gone wrong. Crime rate, 1 to 14%. Higher than the national average. A city where opportunity is rare, and danger lurks in unexpected corners. Rent, cheap, but cheap comes at a price. Safety, stability, and services are all scarce. Jobs, extremely limited. The economy is a ghost of what it once was. Walk its streets, and you'll see the tension between past glory and present decay. Majestic historic buildings, their brick facades still whispering stories of ambition and wealth. Boarded-up shops and empty storefronts, as if the city paused in the 1960s and never hit play again. Streets wide enough for bustling commerce, now eerily quiet, echoing every step you take. Cairo isn't technically a ghost town. People still live here, but it feels like one. a city trapped in a limbo between history and neglect. The rivers are still magnificent. The architecture still holds grandeur, but the present is heavy. Abandoned homes, closed businesses, and a social fabric stretched thin by economic collapse, political corruption, and decades of neglect. Walking through, Cairo is like wandering through a storybook where the ending was never written. You can see the promise in the streets, smell the ambition that once filled the air, hear the echoes of a city that should have been great, and feel the weight of what was lost pressing down on you. Cairo teaches a brutal lesson. Location and potential are nothing without execution. Resilience and a community willing to fight for survival. Even the best rivers, the best geography, and the best architecture can't save a city if everything else collapses. Now imagine this. You're walking along the riverfront. Sun reflecting off the water, empty streets stretching ahead. Boarded-up buildings tower on both sides. You hear a distant dog barking, a shutter clanging in the wind, maybe nothing at all. The beauty of history clashes with the harshness of reality. It's haunting, overwhelming, and deeply unsettling. A city that should have been alive, but isn't. So here's the question you need to answer. If you were offered the chance to move to Cairo today, rent almost free, rich history all around you, but a city struggling with crime, economic collapse, and social decay, would you take the risk to revive its potential, or walk away before the past swallows you whole? Number 6. Glenrio, Texas, New Mexico, the town that belonged to no one. Step into Glenrio, the town with an identity crisis so extreme it literally sits in 2 states at once. Half in Texas, half in New Mexico, and yet somehow no one claims it anymore. Once, Glenrio thrived as a vital Route 66 pit stop, a buzzing little hub for travelers, gas stations pumping fuel for endless journeys across the desert, diners filled with laughter, clinking plates, and the smell of fresh coffee, small motels where weary travelers rested before venturing farther west. But as highways evolved and Route 66 lost its fame, Glenrio was forgotten. Today it's a perfect ghost town, frozen in the 1970s, with nothing left but crumbling buildings and empty streets. Population 0. Absolutely no one lives here. Laws confusing. Step 3 paces and you're in another state. Texas or New Mexico, and the rules change with the state line. Facilities non-existent. No gas stations, no stores, no public toilets. Try finding a functioning faucet, good luck. Walking Glenrio feels surreal. You wander past abandoned diners with rusted signs, gas pumps cracked and peeling, and motels that sag like tired old skeletons. The streets are cracked, paint fades into dust, and tumbleweeds tumble aimlessly across empty lots. Even the coyotes look bored, pacing through the silence like they've seen it all before. Imagine stepping into this town at noon. The sun blazes overhead, shimmering off the cracked asphalt. A single tumbleweed rolls past. No engines, no footsteps, no voices. And yet the weight of history presses down. You can feel the energy of travelers and residents who once breathed life into this place, now gone forever. Glenrio isn't just abandoned. It's a time capsule of obsolescence, a reminder that progress moves fast, and some towns simply vanish when they're no longer needed. Here, roads lead nowhere. Buildings lean at odd angles. The desert reclaims everything, and it dares you to imagine. Could you survive here? Could you carve out a life in a town with no neighbors, no services, no support, just endless sun and endless silence? Picture this. Standing at the middle of the main street, the Texas-New Mexico line running under your feet, wind whistling through broken windows, tumbleweeds rolling past like ghostly messengers. You're completely alone, free from society, yet every step reminds you how stark, how unforgiving, and how utterly isolated this place is. So here's the ultimate question. If someone handed you the keys to Glenrio, your own 2-state ghost town, free rent, absolute freedom, but no running water, no neighbors, no Wi-Fi, and the desert sun beating down on you all day, would you stay and embrace the isolation, or leave before the first nightfall, knowing no one would ever check on you? Number 5, St. Elmo, Colorado, the ghost town in the clouds. High in the Rockies, above 10,000 feet, lies St. Elmo, Colorado. A town so perfectly preserved it looks like it was lifted straight from a postcard and dropped into a snow globe, except no one shook it. At first glance, it's mesmerizing. Snow-capped peaks tower all around, sunlight reflects off frost-covered rooftops, and wooden cabins and storefronts stand rigid, proudly displaying the craftsmanship of a bygone era. But then you notice, no smoke rises from chimneys. No footsteps echo through the streets. No laughter, no chatter, no life at all. Population zero, completely empty. Rent free. If you can survive the mountain cold and isolation. Wi-Fi non-existent. You're truly off the grid. Loneliness absolute. It hits you like the thin mountain air. Step outside at night, and the town transforms into something almost supernatural. The wind howls through empty buildings like it knows every secret of the past. Every creak, every whisper of snow, every distant crack of a tree becomes amplified. Even the shadows feel alive, stretching unnaturally long across the icy ground. It's not just silence. It's an all-consuming awareness of how completely alone you are. During the day, St. Elmo is equally haunting. Sunlight glimmers off snow-dusted rooftops. The abandoned saloon glows faintly, as if waiting for a piano player to return. Old mining equipment rusts in corners. Boarded-up shops and cabins remind you that once, hundreds of people lived, worked, and dreamed here, and now not a soul remains. Every corner tells a story. Children who played in the snow, miners trudging home with exhausted limbs, families sharing meals by candlelight. All gone, only the mountains and the wind bear witness. Living here would not be glamorous. It would be raw, harsh survival. Every day is a battle with the elements. Every step reminds you that nature owns this town, and humans are just temporary visitors in a world that has moved on without them. The true terror of St. Elmo isn't ghosts or monsters. It's the emptiness that consumes your senses, the isolation that presses in from all sides, and the overwhelming reminder that time forgets everything. And here's the question that will make your heart race. If someone handed you the keys to St. Elmo, a town entirely to yourself, surrounded by snow, abandoned saloons, and endless mountain peaks, would you stay and embrace the absolute solitude? Or would you leave before the first nightfall, knowing there's no one to check if you survive? Number 4. Eagle Mountain, California, the ghost town that died twice. Deep in the heart of California's Mojave Desert, where the sun bakes the earth and the wind sculpts the sand, lies Eagle Mountain, a town with a story so wild it could rival any Netflix thriller. This town wasn't always a ghost. Eagle Mountain was born as a company town, built to support the Kaiser steel mine and its workers. At its peak, families lived here. Streets bustled with miners heading to work. Children ran through dusty alleys, and local shops and diners served as the heart of the community. But life in the desert is harsh. In the 1980s, the mine shut down. Jobs vanished. Families left. Schools and stores closed. Eagle Mountain collapsed and the desert reclaimed it. For a brief time, there was an attempt to revive the town, to breathe life back into its streets and homes. But the Mojave Desert had other plans. Heat, isolation, and lack of infrastructure defeated every attempt. Eagle Mountain was abandoned. Again. Population zero, completely empty. Not a single resident. Rent zero. There's literally nothing left to live in. Crime rate zero. No one is there to break the law. Infrastructure dead. Streets crumble, water lines broken, electricity gone. Here's a chilling fact. Eagle Mountain was once considered for a private prison. Imagine rehabilitating inmates in a 115-degree heat, with no water, no shade, and total desert isolation. It sounds cruel, because it was. Today, Eagle Mountain is fenced off, officially illegal to enter, yet YouTubers, urban explorers, ghost hunters, and thrill seekers sneak in anyway. The town has become a canvas for adventure, a living set for found footage horror films. Picture this. It's dusk. The desert glows red-orange as the sun sets. You walk down the cracked asphalt streets. Rusting steel beams glint in the fading sunlight. The wind whips sand into your face, rattling the empty windows of abandoned homes. Your phone? No service. GPS? Dead. You are completely cut off. Every sound, a distant crow, the creak of a shutter, the howl of the wind feels amplified, as if the desert itself is watching. Eagle Mountain doesn't just challenge you physically. It challenges your mind, your imagination. You're not just alone. You're in a place where time forgot you, where civilization ends and nature holds all the power. This isn't a town you move into. You don't become a resident. You survive it, explore it, and perhaps, if you're brave enough, witness its eerie beauty firsthand. And here's the ultimate question. If you were dropped alone into Eagle Mountain at sunset, surrounded by abandoned streets, rusting buildings, relentless desert, and total isolation, and would you dare to explore until sunrise, or would you run, knowing that the desert will claim anyone who hesitates? Number 3. Thurmond, West Virginia, the town that time left behind. Step into Thurmond, West Virginia, a town where silence isn't just silence, it's almost tangible, pressing in from every cracked building, rusted rail and empty street. Here even your footsteps feel awkward, echoing off weathered wood and stone, as if the past is quietly judging your presence. In the 1920s, Thurmond was a powerhouse, a railroad hub, humming with the energy of coal transport and travelers passing through. Hotels brimming with businessmen, families, and the occasional gambler. Saloons alive with piano music, poker games, and laughter that bounced down Main Street. Coal money flowed freely and the streets pulsed with life. Today, it's a ghost town with 4 human souls, just 4. Yes, 4 people share a town that once housed hundreds. Crime rate 0. No one's here to commit a crime. Jobs? None. Coal is gone. Businesses closed decades ago. Grocery stores, forget it. Bring your own food. Neighbors, deer, squirrels, foxes, and then the occasional wandering hiker. But there's more to the eeriness. Over 80% of Thurmond is now owned by the National Park Service. You could literally have the U.S. government as your next-door neighbor, silently watching over the deserted streets and derelict buildings. Imagine walking through the town. The fog creeps over the mountains, curling around abandoned rooftops. Rail tracks glint faintly under the morning sun, leading nowhere but the past. A boarded-up hotel leans slightly, sagging from decades of snow and wind. The old saloon doors creak as the wind pushes them, whispering stories of a time when laughter and music filled the air. The trains still roll past Thurmond, but they don't stop. Just like the opportunities that once brought life here, they move on without a glance. Thurmond isn't terrifying because of ghosts or monsters. It's terrifying because of absence. The absence of people, life, and sound creates a sense of raw vulnerability, a reminder of how fleeting human existence can be. Every building, every sign, every cracked wooden sidewalk tells a story. The rise and fall of a community, the pulse of life that was once here, and the weight of history left behind. Even nature seems to hold sway over the town. The mountains, the fog, and the wildlife slowly reclaiming what humans once built. Living here would test you mentally, physically, and emotionally. You'd exist in a town where time feels frozen, where solitude isn't optional, it's mandatory. Every step, every glance, every sound would remind you how alone you truly are. And here's the ultimate question. If you were offered the chance to spend a week alone in Thurmond, surrounded by fog, mountains, abandoned railroads, and wildlife, would you embrace the eerie solitude and haunting beauty? Or would you run before the stillness gets under your skin and consumes you? Number 2, Cisco, Utah, the desert ghost town where silence screams. Welcome to Cisco, Utah, a town so abandoned that even the tumbleweeds passing through seem lonely, rolling across cracked asphalt like lost spirits. Once Cisco was alive, a critical water stop for steam locomotives. It thrived on the comings and goings of trains and travelers. Bars echoed with laughter and piano keys, small diners filled with miners and families, and local shops hummed with activity. The desert sun couldn't stop the town's pulse. Movement and life were everywhere. Today, it's as if time itself skipped over Cisco. Population 0, not a single permanent resident. Buildings collapsing, weather-beaten, their wood warped and paint peeling from decades of scorching sun and wind. Internet, forget it. No signal, no GPS, no way to call for help. Shade non-existent. Standing under the sun is a test of endurance. Walking through Cisco is like stepping onto a post-apocalyptic movie set. Only this one has 0 budget, 0 extras, 0 CGI. Every structure leans precariously. Every rusted sign, every shattered window reflects the relentless desert sun. The silence here isn't just quiet, it's oppressive. It presses against your mind, forcing you to confront your own thoughts. You begin to argue with yourself, your imagination filling in sounds that aren't there. Imagine it. It's mid-afternoon. The sun burns the sand. Heat shimmers off every surface. You spot a tilted, abandoned trailer. Its rusted door flapping in the wind like a warning. The wind pushes sand into your shoes, your eyes in every crevice. You step closer and it feels alive, whispering, "Wrong decision. You shouldn't be here." There's no water, no shelter, no rescue. No one to check if you're alive. No one to talk to. No comfort, no distraction. Being here isn't survival. It's self-imposed trial, a test of endurance against the desert, the emptiness in your own mind. Every step crunches gravel and sand. Every building tells a story of life that once was. Laughter, work, movement, and now replaced with dust. decay and heat. The wind whistles through collapsed roofs and broken windows, carrying a voice that seems almost human, teasing your imagination, testing your courage. The desert doesn't just strip away comfort, it strips away certainty. You realize how fragile life is when there's no one else to witness it. The beauty of Cisco is haunting. Its emptiness is overwhelming. Its danger is subtle but ever-present. And here's the question that will test your courage. If you were dropped alone in Cisco, Utah for a full 24 hours, with no water, no shelter, no Wi-Fi, no other soul, only the desert, the abandoned buildings, and the crushing silence, why, would you dare to explore its ghost streets? Or would you flee before the emptiness starts to feel alive? Number 1. Monowi, Nebraska. America's loneliest town where one person rules all. Step into Monowi, Nebraska, the town that holds the record for the loneliest population in the United States. The population? One single person. Yes, one person. That's it. The entire town exists because of one woman, Elsie Eiler. Elsie doesn't just live here, she runs the town entirely on her own. She is the mayor, responsible for all decisions, approvals, and city management. The city council, a one-person legislative body ensuring Monowi functions. The bartender, serving drinks to anyone brave enough to stop by. The librarian cataloging, maintaining, and organizing books for the town's tiny library. She sends herself tax bills, approves them herself, manages the books, opens and closes the bar, every role. Every responsibility falls entirely on her shoulders. Population stats? Population 1, crime rate 0. Who's there to commit crime? Neighbors, none. Just the endless Nebraska plains. A few passing animals and the wind. Drama, internal only. Every problem, every decision, every challenge is hers alone. Now imagine life here. If Elsie falls sick, no one is there to check on her. If she cries out in frustration, the echo of the empty streets absorbs it and drifts away, offering no comfort. Every day is a balancing act: survival, administration, social interaction, and community management, all carried out alone. Monowi is not freedom, it is ultimate isolation. It's a living, breathing experiment in human endurance, mental strength, and solitude. You walk through a town with one street, two main buildings, a single bar, and a library, all maintained by one individual. The sun sets. Silence swallows everything. The wind moves through empty streets, rattling signs and cracked windows. There is no traffic, no neighbors, no distractions, just a town that exists entirely for one person's existence. Visualize it. You open the bar for a couple of travelers who stumble through. You manage the library, ensuring books are in order. You send out the town's tax bills, approve city budgets, maintain the infrastructure, and handle emergencies, all alone. Every decision, from small chores to city-level administration, rests entirely on your shoulders. The surreal reality of Monowi is both inspiring and terrifying. It's a place where one person literally embodies a town, where solitude is absolute, and where the weight of responsibility never lifts. And here's the ultimate engagement question for you. If you were offered the chance to live alone in Monowi for a full month, running every aspect of the town, the government, the bar, the library, all alone, with no neighbors, no distractions, and no help whatsoever, would you embrace the ultimate freedom? Or would the crushing isolation make you leave before sunrise? And there you have it. The 10 eeriest, most abandoned and haunting towns in America. From Centralia, Pennsylvania, where the ground has been burning underground for over 60 years, to Monowi, Nebraska, where one woman is an entire city. These towns are more than empty streets and crumbling buildings. They are time capsules, cautionary tales, and experiments in human endurance. We've walked through towns that are completely erased from the map of life, half forgotten like Glenrio, stuck between two states with zero residents, frozen in time like Bodie, California, where even the wind seems to tip its hat to the ghosts of the past, absolutely haunting like Cisco, Utah, where the silence is so loud it forces you to confront your own thoughts. And we've witnessed the absurd extremes of solitude, from towns with 4 people, to places with 0 population, to one lone individual who runs everything herself. Here's what these ghost towns teach us. Not all abandonment is tragic, some is cautionary. Silence is powerful, almost dangerous. The absence of humans can transform a place into art, fear, or awe. And sometimes, human ambition and nature collide in ways that leave behind cities that exist but no longer live. So now it's over to you. Which town haunted you the most in your mind? Could you handle a week alone in Thurmond or Cisco? Or survive the eternal isolation of Monowi? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know. Would you explore these towns, feeling the weight of history and silence? Or would the emptiness drive you away? If this journey through America's most forgotten and terrifying towns gave you chills, sparked your curiosity, or just made you think twice about moving somewhere quiet, hit like. It helps more than you know. And it's cheaper than therapy. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. There are more abandoned places, more hidden horrors, and more stories that most people will never hear. Remember, some towns vanish quietly. Some towns burn underground for decades. And some towns exist only because one person refuses to let them die. So stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring, because the next story might be closer to home than you think.